Yesterday, I saw an amazing documentary, and it really struck me because it was very good for so many different reasons. But the main reason being that one, it was a great kind of like a it was a great visual. It was a great franchise. What do you call it? When the the camera is great quality, and all the editing is just well done, and the storyline is all great. That was a great job. But also it was an amazing experience for me, being a big admirer of C Andersen, or Hans Christian Andersen, which is this Danish icon. Not only definitely by far the biggest Danish writer or actor, well, basically celebrity to ever exist in Denmark, but also someone who is extremely has a story that is a lot deeper than just the stories that he writes himself. Yes, it's true that many of his stories are actually inspired by real life incidents and real life crises, real life joys, ecstasies, and so on. But there was really something that struck me yesterday, because in this documentary, the at one point they were talking about um, Hans Christian Andersen. He went to this Latin school when he was about 17 years old, and maybe it was 18, but 17 years old. He went to from Odense, which was his birthplace, and then he went to Copenhagen, which was 2 days in a horse carriage. So you can imagine how rough that must have been. 2 days in a horse carriage. Well, probably he could sleep in the carriage, but it wasn't a lot of luxury. Anyhow, so he arrived in Copenhagen, and what happened was that he actually got into the school. He got accepted into the school. It was like a high end school for the rich, and the rich families, the rich kids from those families. They attended this school. It was a Latin school. At this time, Latin was a very big thing, and it was a status symbol if your child was actually learning Latin. So what Hans Christian did was he enrolled into the school, but he quickly found out that the lecturer, what do you call it in English? Let's say teacher for now. The teacher, he was really not fond of Hans Christian Andersen, to put it lightly, because he almost despised him, and he kind of like completely. So he said things like, "Your dreams will never become a reality. You should do something meaningful." Because Hans Christian, mind you, at this time, he had big dreams about becoming a writer, having been trying to actually become an actor and really miserably failing at that endeavor. He now turned his focus into being a writer, an author. And so going and attending this school was something that was very tough for him. So he actually wrote a poem. By the way, I'm not going to edit this video whatsoever. I wanted to be extremely raw. I wanted to be very passionate, something I'm very passionate about, and take it or leave it. So this guy, he was sitting in a place where he felt completely alone, and this is also one of the reasons The Ugly Duckling is actually written. But that's quite a few years later. But still, this is inspired by this experience and another fairy tale that I'm going to talk about in a second. So he felt very down, and he felt like, he said, he felt like a dying child, or the child inside him was dying. And so he actually wrote a poem called, and this is a poem, not a fairy tale poem, because he wrote a lot of poems as well, called "The Dying Child," and it's quite simple. So there are definitely older words, but it's possible to kind of like absorb the meaning of the um, poem, even though you're not Danish. But in this poem, he talks about how his mother shouldn't cry, even though he's extremely shattered. He's very hopeless. But when he closes his eyes, he sees a paradise. That rhymes as well. That wasn't really intentional, but yeah, there you go. And so yeah, I just think that's extremely powerful that he really turned to something creative to get those very strong feelings out of his system. And actually, I was planning on doing this half in English, half in Danish, but I think I'll just keep going in English for now, and then uh, I don't know. I could put some Danish vocab in the description or something. Mostly, I'll do Danish content. So I think you can definitely take this one in English, right? So yeah, this is just one of the reasons I'm completely fascinated by this icon, by this man, by this soul, because this guy is, if you haven't read his fairy tales, and especially for you as a language talent, someone learning Danish, someone who writes quite simple and easy to read poems, at least, even though the language, reflects the time, the contemporary, time. Um, he's someone who really has a lively fantasy, and someone who is extremely good at using symbols, using different creatures to personify different feelings, different universal, feelings, sentiments, ideas. But also, he's a guy who has a lot of emphasis on the inner world and how it's important to not get too caught up in vanity and getting too caught up, in the exterior. So, how you look and, how much money you have. Mind you, H.C. Andersen was actually a very, very poor man up until about, let's see, up until he was about 50 or 60, I think. I'm not quite sure about that one. I will definitely find it out for you. So about until 60 or 50, just a few years before he died, I think, he was actually extremely, extremely poor. But, due to his massive success and all the sales, his all the revenue from his writings and all that, um, he was actually poor the most of his life. But yeah, so let's not get too far off the track here. I just wanted to really share this poem in particular, and I want it to be completely unedited, completely raw, and just how I like it. So, and I realize now that the resolution is going to be not ideal, but I definitely think, as someone who is pretty ambitious, if you're still here by the 8th minute, and I know some people will, and these are the people right now. You, my friend, you are the one I am going to help get the best results, have the most incredible, expansive experience learning Danish. So congratulations. This is a great investment. So yeah, there you have it, guys. It's called. I'm going to put it in the description. It's called. By the way, a lot more edited and very polished videos are coming. I'm working with a very skilled and very great video editor. By the way, here is the name of the poem, "Det døende barn," meaning the dying child. "Det døende barn." Yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the live later today. And if not, then you can follow me on Instagram, Danish with Sebastian. I'm going to put the link. And if not, then remember to subscribe and like this video so that you never ever are going to miss an important video like this. Vi ses.